Hi, people. How's it going? Welcome back to Inside Devils, the show that keeps you bang up to date with all the news coming outside of Old Trafford. And there is big news this week. Big news because we are through to the fourth round of the FA Cup with a massive penalty win against Arsenal at the Emirates. I've got to welcome in Alex Crook. We've got to welcome in Ryon Scott-Douglas and Angelina Kelly as well to celebrate a massive week at Manchester United. What a win. What a win. One, let's be honest, we probably thought, I don't know how we're going to do this, but can we just see a good performance? Can we at least see that? We saw fight, we saw heart, we saw desire. We saw us down to 10 men. We saw it all. We saw penalties. It had absolutely everything. Crookie, what a morale-boosting win that is.
Massive. And as you say, with the circumstances, with everything that went against us, I think it makes it an even sweeter victory. I did like the tweet from the official United account that just said justice after Kai Havertz had clearly dived to win a penalty and then seen his penalty saved in the shootout. I think there was a bit of karma there, but there were so many performances all over the pitch that you admire. Obviously, by India, the goalkeeper, who we were all a bit concerned about, I think, when we heard at the weekend that he would be playing. Probably didn't cover himself in glory for the Arsenal equaliser, but certainly did with the save he made from Ødegaard from the penalty in real time and the header from Declan Rice in particular. And obviously in the shootout, that isn't a bad miss actually from Kai Havertz. That is a brilliant save from a goalkeeper who's 6'6" tall to get himself down to his left-hand side and claw the ball away was brilliant. I thought Harry Maguire, having been in bed sick for 2 days, proved what a brilliant competitor and a brilliant leader he is. I think De Ligt probably produced his best performance in a Manchester United shirt. Ugarte and Fernandes in midfield were superb again. And you have to feel pleased for Joshua Zirkzee after all he's been through in his short United career. I'd convinced myself that he'd be the one to miss in the shootout and United would go out. Quite the opposite. He scores the winner and we're into round 4.
Basically, a tale of redemptions, Ryan, because, you know, you talk about Altay Bayındır. I mean, when Ruben Amorim sort of said that he'd be starting, it raised a lot of eyebrows. We're thinking, well, we all saw what happened at Spurs. Why on earth would you do that? Like Crookie just touched on there, you look at Joshua Zirkzee, you know, rumours and reports that he's going to leave. And we said on the last show, didn't we? You know, in fact, if this is a guy who wants to stay here and believes in himself and not just jump ship at the first, you know, sign of adversity, we've got to get behind him to the end of the season. And look at that, goes on to score the winning penalty. And the manager's saying this is how football goes. 1 week you can be the villain and next week your life can be changed around for the positive.
Exactly that. Do you know what? Yeah, yesterday's game was sponsored by the word redemption. I just think it was. As you say, I mean, gone are the days where you can have a season to bed in. You have to see immediate results. And Zirkzee, it was treated unfairly, but being booed when he was taken off. He really was. I felt for him. And he came on, he nutmegged Saliba twice. He was dancing around the field.
Made him fall over.
Made him fall over, put him on his backside. It was sensational. It was great to watch. It was great for him. And to get that winning penalty again, it just felt like his character arc, his story, his season can really kickstart from a moment like that one. And oh my God, the goalkeeper, I'm not going to lie to you, first half, he's getting underneath the crosses. He's not confident enough to catch them. He's punching them. I'm thinking, like, here we go again. But that second win that he got, his shot stopping was sensational. He's the first keeper on record in the FA Cup now to save a penalty in-game and in a shootout.
Bring in
the
stats, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm about. I'm just sprinkling them in today. So yeah, he's the first keeper on record to do that. So look, that's a phenomenal way to top off what was a brilliant game for him, for both players. A shout out to Collier as well.
Yeah.
When he came on, all the substitutions, don't get me wrong, but when he came on to adjust to a breakneck speed pace like that, I think every 6.5 minutes he was doing a defensive action on average. So he was phenomenal. But yeah, redemption. That's what it was sponsored by, and I'm here for it.
I mean, Angelina, we have to have some not awkward conversations, but some important ones because we've given these players a lot of stick. Rightly so. And some have been written off. If you know, you look at Joshua Zirkzee, Harry Maguire, another one. You know, you look at what Matthijs de Ligt did out there last night, considering he was put in his backside by Cody Gakpo last week and then gave away a penalty at Anfield. You know, that can affect your confidence. And he was an absolute warrior last night at the Emirates. I mean, when you're talking about some of these players, Angelina, how well have they done to sort of show that togetherness, show that steel? Dallo will talk about that in a little bit, but the team didn't get faltered by that, and they absolutely suffered together and fought together.
Yeah, I mean, Ruben Amorim's been hammering on about this whole suffering thing, and it seems like, we saw them really grind a result out there in a way. That first half was a bit of a strange one because we weren't really having any chances, but we also felt like we were in the game. We weren't completely dominated by Arsenal. It was a bit of a strange one, and I felt quite nervous going into that second half. But I think, yeah, they worked hard. They did exactly what we want them to do. And I think this is just showing, I think from some of the things that Amorin was saying after the game, and some of the players and everything, it feels very much like they are understanding the assignment. These 2 weeks now of really hard training, I think it's just a case of, this is all paying off. I think, you also do have to look at it that Arsenal just did not capitalise on their moments. And I think had they have maybe been a little bit sharper, I think we could have had some issues. What is it? The last 2 games, they've had 49 shots, Arsenal. So I think that was definitely an element as well. But yeah, good to see these players stepping up. Bruno Fernandes, for me, he has these moments of petulance when he's taking his shoe off and...
No, his shoe was taken off by Gabriel Jesus, and the ref
I didn't see it come off.
The ref should have given a free kick. He didn't.
It should have been a free. It should have been a free kick.
We were playing against the ref as well, Angelina.
I understand that, but his shoe didn't fly off. Let's be honest. And also, I don't understand. This is where he does frustrate me because screaming in the face of a referee that your shoes come off. Does he think he's going to be like, "Oh, sorry, did your shoe come off? Oh, wait, hang on, I'll sort it." It's things like that. I know that a lot of people loved the Maguire kicking off and all that type of stuff. And I think it's good to see, but what did it lead to?
Angelina's being harsh here. Hang on a minute.
I'm being honest. I think at the end of the day...
it led to, in my opinion...
Ugarte potentially headbutting someone in the FA are going to look at it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kai Havertz had his hand round someone's neck. What it led to, I think, was a throwback of actually... Hang on a minute. The ref's doing us over here. Harry Maguire's saying this is not on. That is a foul. He's a cheating so-and-so. Let's go over there, stick it on him.
What did you get out of it?
Well, what we got out of it was a reaction from everybody to spike it up and show Arsenal that we're in their faces. We're lacking in quality, but we're in your faces. We're on your patch. We're here for war. We ain't scared. War.
I get it. I get it. Everyone likes that. And yeah, in the moment you do like it. But Harry Maguire is a leader and he wants to be a leader, is a leader in this team. Him losing his head, having to be held back by 2 of your teammates, that then leads to other players thinking, yeah, let's all get in a scrap. And Manuel Ugarte looks, I don't know if he did or he didn't, looks like he headbutts someone. I get that you guys love it, and that is absolutely fine. But for me, I just think, you know what? Just show a little bit. I get you. I get that it gets scrappy. I get that you might have a few crosswords. I get that he wants to call him a cheating whatever. But I just think sometimes it's just a little bit much. And I don't know where people stand on leadership. If you think that does show leadership, fair enough. For me, I don't know. I think that you can maybe just keep your head a little bit in those situations. But I do agree that it was a great performance from Maguire. I think that the way that he has performed in this team has been brilliant. And I think I've said it before, I think that he's a great player for Man United in this period of time whilst they're sorting their stuff out. And when United are probably at a point where they can be challenging for a Premier League, do I see him as, the be-all and end-all when we're at that level? Maybe not. But I think in this period of time, people like De Ligt, people like Maguire, who do have a lot of good experience. I think that they are good players for us to have. Xerxes, this is what we want to see. In my personal opinion, does he organically fit into this team? Maybe not. Let's see what Ruben Amorim can do. I also do feel like give him till the rest of the season. But maybe this is a case of what they could do, what they used to do at Sporting, their model of getting players to a certain level and then being able to move them on. I'm not saying let's sell him or anything, but you never know. If he continues performing well, could this actually end up being a bit more of a smarter business move for us to bring somebody in who maybe organically fits a little bit more? But props to him and props to Maguire and props to the team. You know, they put a shift in and we got the result.
Crookie, how did you see it, Crookie, in terms of what Angelina's saying there? Very interesting. You know, she's sort of saying, you know, maybe keep it down a little bit. Could have got sent off on a different day. I know how much you love Roy Keane. I know how much Ruben Amorin loves Roy Keane, but that little bit of fire in the belly to spice it up. Did you see it as reckless, or did you see it as courageous and needed?
I see where Angelina is coming from, but it was like a throwback, wasn't it, to United Arsenal clashes of old. Adrenaline was running high, temperatures were running high, and there was a sense of injustice because Havertz dived. There's no question about that. Maguire obviously felt sore about that. But if there was VAR, they'd have probably overturned the penalty award and then sent off Harry Maguire for the headbutt. So I think it's or Ugarte rather.
Ugarte, yeah.
Yeah, so I think he's lucky. Maybe Maguire should have been trying to calm his teammates down, but it just added to it. And actually, there were comparisons, weren't there, to that semi-final in '99. United take the lead, they concede, a player gets sent off, Arsenal get awarded a penalty, the goalkeeper saves the penalty. All it was missing was someone to run and take on the entire Arsenal defence, put the ball in the top corner, and then take their shirt off. In this case, get the goal away from penalty. But it was a throwback, and I think what Ruben Amorin is starting to install in this team is that fight and that character and that spirit, which has been badly lacking.
On Bruno Fernandes, just want to just piggyback in the back of what Ange was saying there. Like, I do get it. I do get the criticism he gets, and he's a polarising figure. I always defend Bruno, though. I still am of the opinion, and I see so many people criticise him. I do get the criticism, but we've known him for so many years now. We know that this is his character. I've a little stat here that since Feb 2020, no Premier League player has received more cautions, that's yellow and reds combined, than Bruno. That's 50 cautions. He's got 47 yellows and 3 reds. So look, we know what he's about. We know that he's gonna moan, he's gonna whinge, and that's gonna get the better of him. But I personally feel that it's that passion, it's that character that drives him to look up and try and find that killer pass, which eventually comes off. I mean, look at that finish yesterday. You could argue, we talked about that square pass that Xerxes did to Maguire. We could argue it was a similar pass. There was a bit of a bubble on it. You know what I mean? But Bruno's got the quality to get over it, and that finish is absolutely incredible. So I think you got to take the rough with the smooth with Bruno Fernandes, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. He's one of them players where it feels like he needs that to be tapped into the game. You know, certain players need to play angry, or you know, there might be boxers that are like, no, I'm serious. I need to feel like I'm ready to take someone's head off, or someone more relaxed and say, no, I'm in control of my emotions. I've got this. I'm calm. And Bruno's is one of them. He's a high volume fouler, high volume moaner on the pitch. He is like Marmite. You know, all the opposition fans pretty much hate him. Let's be honest. They can't stand him. As soon as they see his face and his arms going up like this, it winds them up. But he's sort of our baddie, isn't he?
Exactly.
He's one of those.
100%. 11 goals in his last 12 FA Cup appearances, by the way. So he drags us through in all comps. So I think you've got to love him, you've got to hate him, whatever. But you've got to take the rough with the smooth with that man. I every time he hits the back of the net, my captain. That's what I shout at the top of my lungs. I love the man. I do. I have to say.
I don't know if Angelina's shouting my captain when he scores.
No. Don't get it twisted. I have backed the guy as well, Bruno, and I do think that people, he's an easy target for people to criticise. And like I touched on with the Liverpool game, you go back 2 years prior, that 7-0 when people were hating on him.
Yep.
He did produce a captain's performance against Liverpool. It's just, for me, sometimes every now and then when he does that, I just don't understand personally why you're going. I get that emotions are high. I completely understand it. But I just don't think going and screaming with your shoe in your hand to a referee, I don't understand what he thinks the outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
That's my only thing, but again,
fair.
I'm not a professional footballer.
I am not. It is red.
Yeah,
he's lost his head.
It is.
The shoe's off because Jesus. How can that not be a foul?
It was a foul.
It's a
It was 100%. It was a foul. I get that.
From the foul, my shoe. Look at my shoe. My boot is off. This guy's just fouled me, and then the petulance kicks him.
100% was a foul. I'm with you on that. I just think there's no VAR. you just got to take the L, unfortunately. And you know, and there were a lot of decisions like that where it didn't go our way, and that's why, you know, when Bayern saved that penalty, that was, you know, the world was put back to right, because there is not a chance that they should have even had it.
Absolutely. And you talk about those moments, about how we handled those moments as well. And, you know, maybe the lack of the VAR is why some of the players actually probably thought, tell you what, can get away with a bit here. You know, grip someone up or say, oh, what's happening? Let's have a chat. You know, they're not going to get done for VAR. They're just given a dodgy penalty and didn't look back and take that out. So I may as well go and cause some grief, as long as I don't get seen by the ref or one of the liners. I want to talk about Garnacho. Guys, let's bring Garnacho into this, because that's the second time, back-to-back games there, Crookie, where he's come off. Well, he started this game, but he come off the bench against Liverpool, got a really good assist for Ahmad's goal. Plays the pass for Bruno. Is there some early signs now that we're starting to see that maybe he can settle in this Ruben Amorim system? Maybe there's some light there, or there's been a lot of rumours in the media about approaches from Napoli. Kvaratskhelia looks like he's on the move. A lot of United fans I've spoke to have said, listen, Flex, if there's a 50 million on the door, if there's a 55 million on the door, PSR, I'd have a look at it for Garnacho. But he goes and does that, and then now again the needle moves again, and he's sort of flavour of the month again. Is this signs of improvement from him?
Yeah, I think there have been signs of improvement. And I think actually his decision making on the goal was maybe something that wouldn't have been there a few weeks ago. So again, I don't think it's a coincidence. We spoke about it in the build-up to the game and after the Liverpool game, that Ruben Amorin has had a full week to work with these players on the training pitch. And I think they're starting to understand his system, and they're starting to improve their game management. That was all important, particularly playing for 61 minutes with 10 men. I want Garnacho to succeed. I think he's got all the raw materials. He's obviously come through the youth setup, so there is a temptation if you get a £50, £60 million bid that maybe you might have to cash in. But he's the type of player that United should be building their future around, and I think actually his margin for growth is really exciting, because I think we've only really seen the best of Garnacho in flashes, and I think this manager can get that out of him. I think he's got a big part to play.
What do you think to that, Ryan? Do you think this is? I mean, I know you really love Garnacho, so I know you wouldn't have been entertaining any 50 million bids coming in, but
I'd have laughed them. I'd have laughed them out the office if they came into my office saying 50 million for Garnacho. I'd have laughed them. I said, "Don't make me mad. Don't." He's 20 years old. He's 20 years old. He's got 8 goals and 5 assists this season. He's been, obviously Ahmad will take the headlines. Fair enough, and that's fine, because you can see in Ahmad there's a star there, and his story. And I get it. But Garnacho, let's not count our chickens here. He's been brilliant. As I say, 8 goals and 5 assists this season. He comes on, he assists. You think when he's on the ball, you're like, go on then, now square it. And he does. He does it beautifully. His decision-making already is starting to improve as the season goes on. But like Crookie said there, the flashes, you see these flashes of quality. And under a manager like Amorin, I think he will flourish. Between Ahmad and Garnacho, I'm so excited with these two profiles. I'm really gutted, actually, I must say. And obviously everyone has an opinion, and that's what makes football brilliant. But I'm really gutted there's parts of the fan base that would like to see him go. I'm almost like, what more do you want from a 20-year-old? He's sensational in my book. I really, really rate him. So yeah, I get upset. And the Kobbie Mainoo stuff as well. Entertaining a bid for Kobbie Mainoo, it makes me feel sick. It actually makes me feel sick. So I feel quite passionate about Garnacho. I'm not going to lie to you, as you can tell.
Yeah, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah.
I mean, what say you on this sort of situation, Angelina? We did see, during the week, Ineos could look at, bids for Kobbie Mainoo and Garnacho, not to take it all the way back there, but Ryan sort of touched upon it there. How do you see it in terms of the ceiling that Garnacho can reach and Kobbie Mainoo, and should we be building our team around these players, or is it more of a we have to be aware of PSR and that's modern day football plus Ruben Amorim's system as well?
Of course, you've got to be aware of the PSR, and I think the issue more with this is Ineos, because we have seen their decision making, we have questioned their decision making. It scares me, because if an offer did come on the table for Kobbie Mainoo, I don't know how it works and who makes whatever calls, but you can imagine Sir Jim Ratcliffe sitting there thinking, okay, you know what? X amount of money for Kobbie Mainoo or Alejandro Garnacho? Yeah, let's do it, because let's think about the money side of it. I don't think he would necessarily look at it from the footballing side, and that's what scares me about it. I think, they're both excellent players. And we're seeing, we've seen an interesting story with Garnacho. He started off quite well. It was almost like, he was this super sub. Then he got left out with the derby. There were rumours of him, not being too happy with certain things. It seems like he's had to really dig deep now, and he's proven himself to Amorin, hence why he started. I think a few people were maybe a bit shocked that Ahmad was on the bench, going into this game. So I think, let it continue. Let's see what he can bring to the table. Kobbie Mainoo, for me, has to stay, because he is such an important player. I don't think it's right, the stick that he does get that from some of the Man United fan base. I don't understand it. But yeah, I think they're both brilliant players. And I think that Manchester United should be doing more. I get it's not always as easy as this, but I think Manchester United should be doing more at focusing on trying to find a way to get some of this dead wood out. And, there's a lot of names there. And I think for me as well, after that game yesterday, Diogo Dalot, for me, I'm really questioning what is next with his Manchester United career, because I think it was so foolish what he did to get that sending off.
Couldn't believe it. You're on a yellow already, and you go flying into Mikel Mourinho like that. What was he thinking?
Just so reckless, so reckless. And I think that he's done an okay job in this wing back position, but I think he's a fullback, and I don't see. We cannot go into the next season with him as your left wing back. It's not going to work.
Yeah, Crookie, do you share that? I mean, we know how important wing backs are. We had Mazraoui at right wing back last night, who again, can do a competent job. He's a good footballer. You're probably not going to get loads in terms of 1v1 duels and going past people with the ball and getting assists and getting goals and contributing to the attack, which is something Ruben Amorim wants from his wing backs. But he's a competent footballer, as we thought was Dalot is a competent footballer, but has struggled, apart from last week out against a really poor Trent Alexander-Arnold. But to go and do that and put the team under that pressure, 1-0 up away at the Emirates, the storm's going to come, because we've awoken the beast by going 1-0 up. We need to lock in 11 men needed on the pitch, and he goes and does that. Do you worry for his future like Ange does?
Yeah, I think so, because you're right. He's not really the type of wing-back that Ruben Amorim ideally would want. I think both those wing-back positions are going to be integral to United's summer transfer spending plans. I don't see too much changing between now and the end of this window, although there's always been a part of me that feels like Ben Chilwell potentially coming in on loan late in the window could happen, just to bring some balance, but we'll keep tabs on that one. In terms of Dalot, I just thought it was brainless. I thought it was stupidity, really. The first yellow card's a little bit harsh, but you're on a booking. Obviously, his first touch is heavy. He's lunged in to try and atone for that. You're on the halfway line. Just pull out the tackle.
Exactly.
And I actually thought United were in complete control at that stage. I think we want to win the game in 90 minutes. I think we had Arsenal exactly where we wanted them. They were petrified of our abilities on the counter-attack. They were struggling to create too many opportunities of their own. And in doing that, he just swung the momentum of the game. They equalised quickly. Then United conceded a penalty. And if the game had gone Arsenal's way, it would have been directly Dalot's fault.
Yeah,
and I'm
absolutely.
not sure that Ruben Amorim is going to tolerate that lack of professionalism. And it's a problem now, isn't it, for this Southampton game on Thursday? Because who do you play at left wing back?
Yeah, it's probably going to have to be Malacia if I'm looking at it. I mean, he did all right coming on against Sterling, actually.
He did.
I think he did well. Can he last 90 minutes? Probably not. That's not what tends to happen. So he might have to mix things up a little bit. Mazraoui might have to spend some time out there if Malacia gets tired, and then you bring Ahmad back or something like that. Who knows? But we'll wait and see on that. Bring in Lenny Yoro into the centre-back fold, and then it frees up some other
Props
players.
to him taking that penalty as well, Yoro, I must say.
How class is that?
With those penalties in general, I think that we need to give props to the Man United coaches, because I know that there's a lot of talk about, thanks to Harry Kane for exposing David Raya and the way that he takes penalties. But I feel like somebody must have honed in on that.
Yeah.
And somebody must have, and because I think it was like 3 of our 5 did those slow run-ups, and it completely worked. And I just think it was, I actually enjoyed watching not in the moment watching them
Yeah, I was
back.
going to say,
You really
in the
enjoy
moment, I
watching
was
them.
absolutely bricking it.
And
But yeah.
and I just think, somebody somewhere has gotten onto that and thought, right, we need to really hone in on that. Props to United and the coaches because they got it bang on.
You're
Yeah,
right.
and Ruben Amorim said that, didn't he, Ryan? In the press conference, saying, the set piece guys, because that's another thing. When we went to the Emirates, at the beginning of December, Ryan, uh, we were probably worse on the ball. I mean, Amorim didn't think so, but I disagree. We were probably worse on the ball this time. I thought we would show a little bit more on the ball, attacking wise, especially in the first half. But from set pieces, we did do a good job, even if it looked a bit messy and Bayern's sort of struggling to get to a couple. He still did just enough. Xerxes got Maguire got his head on things. Martinez got his head on things. De Ligt got his head on. We did a good job at not allowing them real open looks like we did in the first game against them. And like Ange says, the set piece guys deserve a lot of credit, like Ruben Amorim gave them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, half the game we played with 10 men against one of the best teams in the country. So, if anything, it wasn't a tactical masterclass from Amorin, but it installed a bit of belief in us that there's some defenders in there and we can defend and we can dispel all that negativity about, because we were leaking goals. But it looks, I mean, De Ligt, his clearance, by the way, is as good as a goal.
Monster.
When you see the stills of that, you look and you think, how am I going to tell my kids that didn't go in? Do you know what I mean? Like it was incredible. So
them pictures of him mangled in the net and just screaming to the United fans, "Come on!" He's celebrating a goal. That's what's been missing.
Exactly. It made us believe. It made us feel again that game, didn't it? It made us feel we've been dead for ages behind the eyes, and now it made us feel again. But what Ange, just on the back of what Ange said about the penalties, I mean, even just in recent history, 3 out of 4 shootouts won now. Between April 2009 and Feb 2022, we won 1 out of 8. Now it's 3 out of 4, so it looks like we got some penalty takers in there, and yeah, the coaching staff really did their homework. So so many positives. As I say, it wasn't a this is the formation he likes to play and he did it beautifully. But there were so many positives taken on the back of that performance.
There really, really was.
You say it wasn't a tactical masterclass from Ruben Amorim. I get where you're coming from, but I think the changes that he made in game were really important.
Oh yeah,
perfect.
Amad Diallo came on and gave an outlet. And actually, it's gone under the radar because ultimately United won the game. Didn't think Rasmus Højlund was great in terms of holding the ball up. Nothing was sticking up to him. But when Xerxes came on, that changed. I think sometimes Xerxes takes so long to get his feet sorted out that he doesn't know what he's going to do with the ball, let alone the defenders, and it bamboozles them. But he did give an outlet that maybe Højlund didn't. I do think Højlund looks like he's struggling for confidence at the moment.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. There was no hold-up play. Again, just wanted to just wrestle with defenders, and you kind of felt that before the game. And Xerxes' impact was absolutely brilliant. He gave those Arsenal defenders something different to think about. He was the physical presence and the glue up front that you need, especially having 10 men. And that chance as well that he forces a save from David Raya, where David Raya gets wrong-footed, he has to go back towards his near post and turn it round. For a corner kick was a big chance as well, and then he scores the winning penalty. So massive for him. Let's talk transfers. Let's talk transfers now. There's a lot going on. Let's talk about Marcus Rashford, Crookie. A lot of reports saying, Sky reporting that they and DiMarzio and some others that they expect a contact to be made now from AC Milan to take Marcus Rashford on loan. How are you understanding that situation to be currently, Crookie?
Yeah, I think that there's still talks with 1 or 2 European clubs. Obviously, Barcelona came to the table late last week, as we maybe expected them to. But speaking of Terry Gibson, Spanish football expert, on another podcast this morning, he didn't really see where Rashford fits in at Barcelona. They've got so many good wide players already, and also financially, they're always wrestling with disaster, it seems. So I think AC Milan are in the box seat. I think they're the most advanced. They're the team who are going to make the first formal approach, as I understand it, to Manchester United. It will only be a loan deal, probably a straight loan, so no sort of option or obligation to buy. And I think the key to this is the percentage of wages they're willing to pay. But they're in quite a strong position because it's pretty obvious now, isn't it, that Ruben Amorim is not going to entertain Marcus Rashford, so it doesn't put United in a brilliant bargaining position. So I'd imagine if they can get a 50-50 split even, and I think that might be too high from a Milan perspective, I think United would be pleased about that. And I think the sooner this situation reaches a positive conclusion in terms of Rashford going out is better for all concerned. Having said that, we're not now going into every game or coming out of every game talking about Marcus Rashford, are we? He's almost just sort of the
becoming
forgotten
less
man.
of a story now, isn't it?
Exactly, because results are positive and performances are justifying Amorin's ruthless decision when it comes to Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, and a couple of others who could be going out. Let's take Casemiro, for example. Toby Collier was preferred to him to come off the bench, and rightly so. We needed legs, we needed steel, we needed mobility in that midfield against Arsenal last night. But so really promising for Toby Collier, but really damning for Casemiro. Is there any chance he could be actively looking at a move to Saudi?
Yeah, I think so. The interest there has never really gone away. There's a massive wage packet on the table. I think Casemiro feels like he's in a strong position to ask for as much money as possible, because we know that Cristiano Ronaldo from within is pushing the deal brokers over there to get this done, and what Cristiano Ronaldo wants he usually gets when it comes to Saudi football. So yeah, I think there is every chance. I spoke to a high-ranking source at United towards the end of last week, and they said nothing advanced from our end as of yet, but it's pretty clear, isn't it? I think actually it was quite telling when Amorin was asked if he knew what his best team was, and he referenced Casemiro, didn't he, and said there's a reason that Ugarte is playing more regularly now than Casemiro. He doesn't have the legs to play the type of football Amorin wants.
It's
and
quite
does Christian Eriksen, so don't rule out him going between now and the end of the month either.
Yeah, and what about Anthony? Some apparent interest in Greece and some others. Any chance that he secures a loan on a short-term deal to the end of the season to get some football, and Man United can clear some of the wages and begin that sort of exit process for him?
I think they'd love to. There's certainly been interest from Olympiacos, but he doesn't seem too keen to make that move. There was talk of a potential return to Brazil or even his old club Ajax, but it's gone very quiet on the Anthony front at this moment in time. He clearly doesn't have a future at United. I think he's been given one or two opportunities under Amorin. Did okay with a couple of cameos off the bench early in Amorin's tenure, but he got that start, didn't he, which was an absolute disaster. And again, I think United know they need to move on from Anthony, but it's going to be an expensive mistake, because they're not going to get back anywhere near the transfer fee if they're going to get any transfer fee at all, and probably they're going to have to keep subsidising his wages as well.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of incoming, Randall Kolo Muani and Gonzalo Inicial have been mentioned. These deals are really difficult to do if we don't shift anyone, right, Crookie?
Yeah, I think Muani is going to go to Juventus. That seems to be the suggestion this morning. Tottenham at one stage thought they were in pole position, but it looks like Juve, his preferred option. I'm not sure United's interest was ever that serious, to be honest. He was on the list before they signed Rasmus Højlund, but as you say, financially a tough deal to do in January. There's been a lot of talk about Mendes coming in at left back, but that's been played down to me as well. And you mentioned Inicial, which again is not the type of deal I think United have funds for. So I think if they sign anybody, it will be a loan until the end of the season, just for a body, much like we saw when they signed Reguilon from Tottenham. I think that's the type of deal United are looking at.
And then sent him back too early. And just actually, you brought up Crookie actually before we let you go. You brought up I've forgotten his name now at Chelsea.
Chilwell.
Not Colwell. Chilwell. Ben Chilwell. Out of favour. We've seen Enzo Maresca discussing why he's surplus. Says he's a top fullback, but I can't see him doing different roles. Basically saying he can't invert, he can't do the things that I expect him to do in this team. Do you think Man United could be tempted? He's had a torrid injury record. Worse probably than Luke Shaw's. But he's been out for ages. He's been training. But is me personally, I'd want to stay well clear of that. But how do you see it, Crookie?
I think the injury record is a problem, because United have already got one crocked left back. They don't necessarily want another one on big wages. And he is on 200 grand a week as well. And again, I think for any move to happen, the loaning club would have to subsidise a lot of that, but they're not going to take it all on. So that would involve maybe him taking a hit. I think Chelsea would tear up his contract if he could find a free transfer, but he's not going to do that because players don't take pay cuts. So yeah, I'm not saying I've got any inside knowledge on this. I know he was offered to United in the summer and they distanced themselves from it. But I just think the nearer we get to the end of the window, if they just put bodies in, then that's the type of deal that I could see them maybe exploring. There might be a curveball. Who knows? We might get to deadline day and we might see a sort of Odi Nagalo type transfer.
Yeah, you can't rule it out. Okay, guys, that is your lot from Crookie. As you know, it's the January transfer window. So he's off on his phone. He's off to his contacts and his sources to basically come back and report to us that we've signed Victor Osimhen or Victor Gyökeres. And we've told him he can't come back unless he comes back with some positive news. But basically, like you with your stats, Ryan, if they're not positive...
Yeah, I was thinking.
We don't... we don't
Positive vibes only.
We don't want to hear them. But so yeah, we'll wait to see if Crookie returns back to Inside Devils with some good news on the transfer front. But with the transfers, Angelina, is it imperative that we get someone, something, some boost for Ruben Amorim, or is it more important to keep calm and don't try and do moves we can't do that have no help for the team long term or short term?
Obviously, they've got to be smart signings, but I don't see why we can't make something happen. I understand that there's PSR, but, again, I say it, Ineos are supposed to be these ruthless operators that want to get Man United to a certain level by 2028. That means doing good business. So I feel like I would expect them to have a plan in place to be able to move maybe one or two names on, like somebody like Casemiro. If you can get that wage off the books, that is huge. So yeah, I would like to see somebody come in. We do, of course, need a striker, but I think that unless you can get somebody who is going to hit the ground running, I know that there's been a lot of talk about Ollie Watkins at the moment, with people saying that Arsenal should maybe buy him. Aston Villa have come out and said that with PSR they are going to have to move some people on. He clearly does not do well, whether it's Danny Ings or John Duran. He doesn't do well when he's got competition. If you could, in a perfect world, get somebody like that in January, then great. But I think that getting a really competent striker that's going to work, maybe that's going to take a little bit more time. We do have other outlets for goals, as we've seen. So maybe somebody like a left wing back, especially after that Dello performance, somebody like that, if we could bring something tangible in, it'd be great.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It'd be nice to give Ruben a boost. Ryan, just to help, shape this squad in his image. But obviously, it's such a difficult window to do this in. Maybe on a 1 to 10, I would say, ask you how likely it is. Do you think that we'll actually bring somebody in?
I would go 3 out of 10.
Really?
4 out of 10. Yeah, I'm not optimistic about this window. I don't like this window. I'm not going to lie. I don't really like the January window.
Your favourite Bruno Fernandes came in it.
It's true. Look, there's been a few good signings, but typically it's just a bit of a stink fest, the January window. But personally for me, I think it's important not to panic and enter another vicious cycle where we're just signing players for the sake of signing them, because that just undoes everything once again. It starts that circle. I think the only people we should sign is loan people to the end of the season. I get that, so let's have a look at that, and only sign players if it fits Amorin's profile. Do not panic buy. And the concern area for me, left wing back, I would look at that this window if we can get somebody in until the summer. But I'm not too fussed about the January window. If we don't sign anyone and it's slammed shut, it's more important for me to offload players and sign players anyway, I think, over the next month. So we'll see, but not high hopes from me.
Yeah, and obviously we're going to have to take a loss on many players we're trying to move out. So It is about, if we can get them off the wage bill and start to undo the squad so that in the summer we're in better shape to do it, to rebuild it would be great. But also, I know we can't kind of fin with options. If you think about it, if Kobbie Mainoo got injured now or Ugarte got injured now, we're one injury away or two from playing Casemiro and Eriksen, in the 10 position. That Anthony hasn't done well at all, and there's no Mason Mount and there's no Rashford. So all of a sudden we're one injury away from the likes of Ahmad or Garnacho to having to lean on somebody like Anthony, and that's not part of the plans. Or Xerxes there as well. So it is interesting to see if the dominoes will start falling. If Marcus Rashford goes, that's going to free up a lot of money and space in the roster. We'll see. Looking ahead to Southampton now. You guys let us know in the comments what you want for transfer-wise. But it's all about this Southampton game because we have to get 3 points. There's no point going away to Liverpool. There's no point going away to the Emirates, albeit in the FA Cup, putting in solid performances with heart, with passion, with determination, and not beating bottom of the league, Southampton at Old Trafford. But before we look ahead to the game in more detail, there has been a reduction in the ticket prices.
Hey.
And is this Ineos listening to the fans? The adult tickets have been lowered back to £48 for Southampton and Brighton matches, and the concession tickets return. More than 50% of the blocks were still available for the game against the Saints. And, is that the fans sort of voting vocally by not choosing not to buy those tickets? And then Ineos haven't put out a statement saying we've listened to the fans and in hindsight we've made a bad decision, we apologise. They've just quickly put the prices back on the sly.
It's an interesting one. It would have been nice if they would have communicated it properly. I think that fans deserve that, and fans wanted, from the protests before the Everton game, which I was there, I was speaking to the people that organised it. They just want a bit of transparency and a bit of good communication. For me, I don't think that this is, people are saying, is it a small win? Maybe, but I think that there's method to all of this. It's only midweek game, so it's actually Southampton, Ipswich, and the Rangers game. So it's the midweek kind of fixtures that they're doing this for. Your Saturday fixtures are not getting affected. I think having tickets available is not always a big surprise. I've had it before where I've been able to buy through being a member same day tickets. Maybe it is fans maybe revolting a little bit, but I think you're still going to see a pretty busy Old Trafford. I think it's just frustrating because the ticket prices, the decision that they made would bring in 1.5 million, which is Casemiro's wages for a month, pretty much. So it's frustrating.
That's
this penny
incredible.
Pinching and the
0.5
PR around all of this.
Sorry, staggering numbers.
No, it's and you think about all this penny pinching and the PR around all of this that has been awful. And there are also reports that they're worried that Ratcliffe might even try and reduce the number of season ticket holders. I think it's currently at about 50,000, so that there are more tickets available
at higher prices.
So you can raise the general admission. The people that are going to do that aren't season ticket holders are more likely people, maybe more tourists or something, that are going to spend in the megastore. They might want to do a bit of hospitality or something. But I thought the article from Sean Ingle, he wrote within it talking about this, about psychologists say that there are 4 stages of learning a new skill, and that the lowest is unconscious incompetence, when you don't know how to do something and you don't even realise it. And you look at the mistakes that Ineos have made, you can argue that they are in unconscious incompetence because they don't even realise what a bad job that they're doing. It's absolutely laughable. But yeah, interesting how they didn't communicate it. I think that's the main takeaway, that they've just tried to do this on the side thinking no one's going to notice.
Yeah, a little bit sneaky there, Ryan? But all in all, though, good to see the prices go there. And because this isn't an official reduction, like through official channels, I mean, do you think it's up in the air whether they try and sneak it back up again? Surely it'd be stupid to do that, but there's no official word.
Wouldn't put it past them, would you? Wouldn't put it past them. And you can only judge what we've seen so far. And Ineos Group, man, they're just a little bit shaky for me, a bit janky. I'm just not sure about them. I'm really not sure about them. And I think they've created more problems than they've solved for someone like Ruben Amorim walking through the door. But look, I think we disagree on a lot within the fan base. Fan bases across the UK, but we can all agree ticket prices going down in some way, shape or form is a good thing. So look, they've done a good thing, but not communicating with the fans. It's very Ineos. That's what I'll say. It's very Ineos.
Very Ineos. I like the way you've said that. Okay, well, let's look ahead to the game. Listen, I can't even remember the last game we won in the Premier League. Was it Everton? 4-0?
Oh, don't say that.
I'm going to say
especially
yes.
a home game.
Definitely at home, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, we got destroyed against Forest, destroyed against Bournemouth, destroyed against Newcastle. Yeah. So I make it Everton, guys. And away from home, we lost against Wolves. Mm-hmm. We've drew against Liverpool. So that's about 4 games there. 5. So I'm pretty sure you're the stats man, Ryan. But
it was Everton,
sure
yeah.
It's Everton.
Yeah, it's horrible.
We've praised the team. We've praised the team for really tough games that we really expected we'd lose. in the last couple. However, it means nothing if you don't back this up with 3 points against Southampton. And that isn't being disrespectful to Southampton. You know, at the end of the day, we're looking over our shoulders for the relegation pack. But Southampton at the foot of the table, Angelina, what sort of team do you expect to see? Is Ruben into a routine now of seeing largely the strongest team? You expecting Andre Onana to come back in after Altay Bayindir's heroics, or do you think you might stick with him? How do you see this?
You know what? It's going to be really interesting. It does seem like he's going more with you can more or less
Yeah.
guess it pretty much. We more or less knew, apart from maybe Ahmad, we pretty much expected the team that we saw against Arsenal. I don't think that he's going to put Bayindir in for Onana. I think he seems to be a person who sticks. I think certain things he might react off form, but I think he tends to stick with, like, no, you are the cup goalkeeper. That is your role. We're not changing that. Onana, you are the, Premier League hero, but that's how it stays. I think that the goalkeeper had a fantastic game, absolutely fantastic game. But I always do go to bat for Onana a little bit as well. And I just don't think any good will come of starting to rock the boat, because all that's going to do is start the media discussing, why has he dropped him? He's rubbish. They should sell him. And I just don't like the narrative that it will create. But I think this is it sounds ridiculous when you think of how poor Southampton have been. This is a great test for Man United, because, like we say, these bigger games have not been the worry. It's about having that consistency in these games that United should be winning. It seems like the players want to show up for the glamorous ones, and the games that don't have the big headlines and the glitz and the glamour, they're a bit more like, yeah, Steve, I feel like turning up for this. We've got to continue on this same path. It's been a great start to 2025, and it seems like United have got a really good template. And I think you would like to go into this game being like, you know what, let's hammer them. Let's really go for it. Maybe even if United were in a good position in this game, if we see from the first half that it's strong, if United managed to get a goal or two, could we see somebody like Collier playing? Could we see, maybe a young striker getting an opportunity or something? It should be a game like that where you can experiment with some other names. But the way things have been going, I think it is going to have to be a strong 11. And I think that first half, I want goals in that first half.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one thing, isn't it, Ryan? Gearing yourself up for these big away games with United as underdogs. But it's these types of games where Southampton are likely to sit in there. There's no more Russell Martin. They're likely to sit in a low block themselves and try to frustrate us. We have to be on the front foot. You can't just sit there in a back five at home against Southampton.
No, exactly. It's gonna pose a whole different dynamic, which is what the Premier League is, which is why it's one of the best leagues in the world. Yes, Southampton are going to need breaking down, so it presents a whole new issue than the one that we had against Arsenal. There'll be a couple of changes, like Ange said. Onana will come in. I expect Ahmad to start, but I mean, even when Ahmad came on, no one created more chances than him in the United shirt. He came on the 80th minute. He created 2 chances. No one created more than that. So, look, off the bench, he's good. When he starts, he's good. So I expect him to start. But, I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. We, all in our heart of hearts, think we should be beating Southampton. They're bottom of the table. They're on 6 points. They're a minus 32 goal difference. They've only won 1 all season. I don't think we'll blow them away. Personally,
no, I don't think we'll blow them away.
I don't think we'll blow them away. I mean, Wolves had banana skin written all over it for me. I wasn't looking for
new manager bounce, all of that.
Exactly. I mean, we got 3-0 at home against Bournemouth. I didn't expect that. I'm not going to lie, not to that degree. But Southampton, there's just a different feel here. I mean, we hadn't scored at Anfield in years and years and years, and we've scored. We hadn't won at the Emirates in years and years, and now we've won. So look, we're going into this with a bit of positivity.
Yeah.
And it's about getting a run going now. It's about putting W's on the board. So I don't think we'll blow them away, but I expect us to win quite comfortably. And I can see us keeping a clean sheet on the back of that performance against Arsenal as well. So look, there's positives there for me.
I'm with you. I'm with you with that. Well, having said all of that, you said about a clean sheet. We'll stay with you right there really quickly. Lock in your prediction. What is it, Ryan?
It's 2-0. I'm going to go 2-0. I think Bruno gets on the score sheet again. And yeah, I don't know who the second one will be. I don't want to take it too far. But yeah, we'll go 2-0.
Ange?
Judging off, I know that Southampton obviously scored like 3 goals against Swansea, but when you look at it, they're not. I'm hoping they're not going to be
They're
scoring,
not
like
Man
4 goals.
United.
Exactly.
Swansea aren't
But
us.
yeah, I agree. We need a clean sheet and we need goals. I think this is a big game for Rasmus Højlund as well if he plays. So I'm going to go 3-0 to Man United.
Okay, interesting. I'm gonna be with Ryan. I had 2-0 before. In the back of my head, I'm gonna stick with that. I think 2-0. I think Xerxes gets a start. I think it's a perfect game to start him as well.
Yeah.
Confidence is up. Get the whole of the crowd behind him. He's coming off of the heroics against Arsenal for the winning penalty. Likely to be lots of chances against
Yep.
Southampton. You'd think a chance to get his confidence up. The last game we won at home, he scored a couple in that as well. So yeah, why not? Joshua Xerxes. And Bruno Fernandes on the score sheet. You can't look past that as well. Yeah, I'm going to go for that. Guys, this has been Inside Devils. Big thank you to Crookie earlier on in the show for giving us the lowdown on the transfers and what he thought about the game. Angelina Kelly and Ryon Scott-Douglas as well. We'll see you on the next episode of Inside Devils. We are out of here. Take care, guys. Peace.